Hello, today's topic is the evaluation, 1/1 evaluation, 1/2 evaluation equivalent, and 1/2 evaluation non-equivalent. Also the sensor supply and the channel configuration for a safe module ET200 from Siemens, and therefore I use the TIA Portal V20. And in this video we will talk about the sensor supply and the most important topic, the channel parameters, which consist of the sensor evaluation. There is a selection 1/2 evaluation equivalent, 1/2 evaluation non-equivalent, 1/1 evaluation, and a safety met. So I will talk about the 1/2 equivalent, the non-equivalent, and the 1/1 evaluation, and also the responding channel input parameters to those channels. Okay, so on the left side here you can see the channel parameters. You always see there is always like a pair of channels. It's 0 and 4, 1 and 5, 2 and 6, and 3 and 7. So all these, always two inputs make one safety channel, and I have a pretty good description from Siemens. I might download this to my internet site and send you a link, or put a link in the description where you can download this whole documentation to get a better understanding. Okay, so let's go right ahead and see what we got here. So this is a wiring diagram connecting a two-channel sensor equivalent via two channels. So this is one channel, one sensor with two individual outputs, or with two individual normal closed contacts. There is another possibility that you have two individual sensors with one channel, normally open channel each. For the module, it is the same thing. It doesn't make a difference on whether you have one sensor or two individual sensors. So as for the wiring diagram, you can see the channel 1 will go to the input 0, and the channel 2 will go to the input 4, which you also see here. This is the first channel, input 0 and 4. And if you want to reach a safety level, which is PLE and safe category 3 or 4, according to a IEC normative that I will also link down in the description. But either way, the highest safety possibility that we got is PLE, and this is regarding with this sensor, with the sensor output and also the inputs. And here it is with an external power supply. So let's say you do have an emergency stop where you actually have to also watch a short circuit monitoring, and for a short circuit monitoring you have to use the responding power supply or sensor supply to the responding input. So it's the sensor supply VS0, which you can see here. The VS0, I have a short circuit checked on here and also on the other ones. So all these are short circuit protected, and also it's the 1/2 evaluation equivalent. So this is this setup right here. So let's just assume that this is a e-stop where we want to monitor a short circuit also, and the parameter for that is pretty much those 1oo2 evaluation, and the discrepancy behavior is yeah, if there is a discrepancy in the channel, if let's say just for example the input 0 goes off due to a wire break or something, then you get a discrepancy behavior, and then your supply voltage should go to 0, and the module will be passivated, and this I also explained in another video already. So we will leave this to the factory setting. The discrepancy time is 1000 milliseconds. That's probably a little bit high, so I would just set that to 500 milliseconds. And this is the discrepancy time if one channel goes to 0 and the other one is high. The reintegration after discrepancy error, you can select on whether you need to have a 0 signal or a 0 signal is not necessary. So I usually go with a 0 signal being necessary. That means you have to push the E-stop in order for both inputs to be a 0, and this way you can actually reset them. Yeah, what is a short circuit test? A short circuit test is that the sensor supply itself has different timed pulses, which we cannot see here. I do not know if I can probably just draw that up real quick. Like the sensor supply 1 is like this pulse. It might be not the same timing, maybe a long pulse, a short pulse, but that doesn't matter. So that's like the VS0. Oops, oh shit, where did I go now? This is the VS0, and the VS1 is just the opposite way, like that. So this is how the input reads, this is how the input responds to the outputs or relates to the outputs. So the VS0 is this one, and the VS4 is this one. And now if you make a short circuit from DI0 to DI4, why would that happen? Let's just assume that probably one of those contacts is bad, and you got a real smart electrician that says, oh, that doesn't matter, so I can just jump around the DI0 and the DI4, and that way my machine is ready to run again. So this is the reason why if you want to reach PLE, performance level E, you have this short circuit proof application where you need to make this check mark on the short circuit test here. Okay, so this is for the equivalent. And then also I'm sorry, my channel 1 is, I think, non-equivalent. You're right. So the non-equivalent is just vice versa. So let's go down to where is it? Page 50, I guess. Hang on a second, I'll be right there. Yes, this is page 50, using just one sensor, and this one sensor has got a normal open, normal close contact with common, so you need only one supply, which is only, yeah, which is also PLE and SIL3 and CAT4. I will also rather go with the two individual with the two individual sensor, where one sensor has a normally open and one sensor has a normally closed contact. And this is the setup for the non-equivalent, which you can see here. This is my channel 1 and 5. And also, let's see, I got this actually live on my board here. I only do have the cell phone, but you can see here, this is like my E-stop with two normally closed, the equivalent contact, and here this one is the one with the non-equivalent. So if I push the E-stop, you will see those two inputs turning off, being equivalent, and the non-equivalent, you will see the one input turning off and the other one input turning on. So this is the non-equivalent. Did something change here or not? Now I can't get my E-stop out. Hang on a second. Yeah, it actually did change. So let's do that again. Yeah, you can see the 0 turns off and the 4 goes on, respectively. The 1 and 5, sorry, the 1 and 5, which is channel 2, that we can see that. We can see that on here. No, I do not want to install that. And for some reason, my property is switched off. Yeah, so the channel 1 and 5 is a non-equivalent, so it's the input 1 and 5, and the channel 0 and 4 is for the E-stop. So this is pretty much the explanation on how does a 1/2 evaluation works. And then we also have a 1/1. A 1/1 evaluation you need probably for if you have a operator mode switch where you have to change different operator modes, like a manual mode or a die setting mode or automatic mode. Also probably just a single stroke mode. Then you got a key switch with different selections, and for this you do need the 1/1 evaluation, which I have in this module here, the 1/1, and also I forgot, no, I did not forget. I got everything right. I thought I forgot the sensor supply, but the sensor supply on a 1/1 is different because of I'm kind of stuck now. Where am I? Yeah, the 1/1 evaluation, you have to actually select the sensor supply, and the sensor supply you can select whether you want to use the sensor supply with the pulses from 0 to 7, or you can just choose an external sensor supply, which I have in this case, and this looks just like, I have to go a little bit up now. This looks just like on page 13. That's too far. Sorry guys. On page 39. Here we are. So this is the 1/1 evaluation. Like I said, with this you don't reach any PLE. This is just also you can use it for a reset, or maybe I use it for a reset because I don't have a non-safe module. I only have safe modules, so I use it just for the reset or the reintegration. And you can see you got two ways to do that. You got the sensor supply selection here, and you got the external supply selection here, where you see you only apply 24 volts. You can probably just take that from here, like This will be the same voltage, like let's say this is your power supply, your 24 volts. That should be a 24, and from this you can just go ahead from to here and just make the same power and select that on here. Yeah, this is, like I said, this is only used for single inputs, and it's not safe in a matter of PLE. It's used for individual signals, and you get the evaluation selection here. All right, guys, this is it for the explanation on the 1oo1, 1oo2 evaluation and the sensor supply on a Siemens safe module using TIA Portal V20. And I thank you for watching, and bye bye.